letter. Hey everybody, this is Jen Keenan at the Four Squares Residential Group at Keller Williams Real Estate, coming to you with my Love the Way You Live video series. As I've mentioned, this year we're talking about loving the way you live in another market. And I'm so happy this month to have with me Kirsten Reilly from Compass. And today we're going to talk about Northern California and Silicon Valley and that lovely San Jose area that is such a reciprocal city to Boston with our technology and our healthcare and the coastline. Yes. So yay, Kirsten, I'm so happy to have you today.
I'm so happy to be here. This is super fun. I love, as you know, talking about real estate, and I love talking to you. So yes. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Full disclosure, Kirsten and I have known each other for a long time. And, you know,
I don't even know how many years.
I know, it's been so long. And we're friends. And, you know, I just love to be able to do this with my friends and have them on. And knowing that I have a really good referral partner in such an important area of the country, because it's absolutely, you know, from Greater Boston to Silicon Valley, kind of a fluid market. So I think, you know, we're going to talk a little bit today about properties and values. They're very comparable to Middlesex County, especially the closer you get to Greater Boston. So, you know, one of the things I'd love to hear from you, Kirsten, in just in general, what is it like to live in Silicon Valley? Like it's like a myth to me, right? It's this, it's Silicon Valley, all these companies. What's it like to live there?
Yes. So, I'm trying to compare it to other areas that I've lived in. I would say, so when I lived in San Francisco for a while, and moving to the Silicon Valley, which is south of San Francisco, it just seemed like one endless expanse of suburbia to me. And so to someone that's not familiar with the area, it really might feel that way, because it's just like, you know, just neighborhood after neighborhood of these mid-century type homes. The whole area before World War II used to be fruit orchards, and it was called the Valley of Heart's Delight, because there was just, you know, fruit trees, nut trees, canneries. I mean, that was the industry here before the tech boom. And then once after World War II, all of the vets fell in love that had been like serving the coastline. They fell in love with California and settled down. And so the housing boom of like the 50s, the late 40s and 50s, and then into the 60s, really created like this endless expanse of these little single-story tract homes. So we've got a ton of our houses that are that look like the, you know, 1,300 to 1,700 square foot, 3 and 4 bedroom houses that the baby boomers were raised in. So that's what it feels like to live here. But if you look into the distance, you see the hills on one side, like the Golden Hills on the east side and the forested hills on the west side. And beyond those hills, you have Santa Cruz and the beach. And so we're 15 minutes, or sorry, pardon me, we're like 30 to 45 minutes to the beach. We are an hour to San Francisco, an hour and a half to Napa Valley. I mean, it's just, there's so much to do here. It is really, really beautiful.
That is so comparable to our area, because most of our area here in Middlesex County is similar, you know, an hour to the beach, give or take, an hour downtown, maybe a little bit farther if you want to go up to the mountains of, you know, New Hampshire and Maine. So it's just that it's such a comparable area. And I think that, you know, of course you get the California weather too, which is so nice. And I think just because, you know, here we're talking in August and it's fire season out there, that doesn't really affect your area too much, because you're more on a low-lying area versus high ground.
Last year we were really affected by it. And so far this year, knock on wood, we haven't really had smoky air or anything. There's a little bit, but it's nothing that's really, I mean, last year, like our skies turned yellow from it. It was wild and scary, and we wanted to be inside the whole time. And that lasted several weeks. You know, it was bad. So far this year, we haven't hit anything really horrible like that yet. I just really am praying that it's that we escape this year and hit the rainy season quickly.
That'll be good. That'll be good. Well, our summer has certainly been rainy, so I'll gladly send some of it your way, because we have had enough here. My lawn has never been so green as it is this year in August. It's crazy.
All of our lawns are dying.
So tell me what it's like right now, just from a real estate perspective.
Mhm.
I mean, I know the market's really busy here. We have very low inventory. Tell me what it's like happening in your area, over the past couple months or currently.
Well, the spring was pretty wild. Houses were selling, God, 10 to 13% over list price. And that continued from February all the way through like May and into
Hmm.
June. So we've had this sustained hot market. Buyers kind of got used to it. They thought, okay, well, if I can afford X dollars, then I need to look at houses that are cheaper by like 10 or 13%.
Hmm.
And then they would just know that they would have to overbid. And sellers were pricing their houses that way. They knew they could get 10 or 15% higher, but they would price it low like their neighbor did. And so it was
Right.
just this sort of pattern of overbidding, and having 10 to 15 people want the same house because there was just no inventory. And so one property would pop up and everyone would go for it.
Right.
Um, Now, I don't know if you're noticing this now in the summer months, and it's also back to school and it's like, let's get our vacation in ASAP because we haven't gone on one in over a year. Um, it seems like people are distracted. Inventory is increasing a little bit, and we're having maybe, two or three people, or maybe even one person bid on a house, as
Hmm.
opposed to that crazy, frantic feeling of the
Yeah.
spring. Are you guys
Exactly.
seeing?
Exact same thing here. Yeah. And actually, I'm going to make you host before I forget because I'd love
Oh,
to show the map, so that we can alert our viewers of where kind of we're looking at in
okay.
terms of, relative to San Francisco and the coastline.
Okay, good. I have it ready to go. So I
Okay. You
can,
should be ready to share.
okay.
Great.
Okay, so just to zoom out a little bit for you guys, if you're not familiar with the Bay Area, you can recognize San Francisco here. This is the San Francisco Bay. We've got the peninsula here with San Mateo is called out, but Palo Alto is also there. Um, Redwood City, Belmont. Here's Palo Alto where Stanford University is. I work primarily in this area here. Can you see of
Yep.
like the San Jose? So this is all Santa Clara County. Um, that includes Cupertino, which is where, the Apple campus is. We've got Netflix is located in Los Gatos. Adobe Systems is in downtown San Jose. So, and I am where this blue dot is. This is where I am right now. That's my house. I'm at my home office. And I'm about
Awesome.
15 minutes to downtown San Jose, about 15 minutes to Cupertino, 15 minutes to Los Gatos. I'm kind of centrally located, which makes it nice.
That's so nice.
And then up here in Fremont, that's where Tesla is located.
Oh,
So yeah, there's
okay.
all of these.
You have such good industry there.
Yeah.
Where, here, like, we've talked about this before, we have biotech jobs, we have healthcare jobs, we have high tech jobs. So
Hmm.
again, like, there's no shortage of opportunity if somebody wants to move and continue with the industry that they're in, the Silicon Valley area for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I know with COVID, the whole reason we're doing this video series is that people are reevaluating their work from home, their
Yep.
lifestyle, their ability to kind of relocate to different
Hmm.
areas and experience living in other areas. And so, obviously, a big driver for that is your job and your employment. And to be able to keep the same either industry or actual company is super important to people.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah,
Oh,
and we
God.
get a lot of people coming out to this area, and calling me for consultations, like, what can I afford? I'm being given this job opportunity. I think I could afford a house of, you know, $1.2 million. What does that equal? What could I get for that? And so, a lot people are so equipped with data through all of these online real estate portals. They can go and really poke around in neighborhoods and get acclimated, but I still have to deal with sticker shock, with people coming out to this area and trying to get it comfortable with what they can afford. And I think the main difference I've started to realize dealing with, relocating executives coming into our area or people just coming in for job opportunities in these high tech companies is that the status symbol of your home is different where they were moving from versus where I am here.
That's really
So,
interesting.
so to give you an example, no one thinks negatively of a senior exec that lives in 1,500 square feet. It's not like an indication of your success to have this big, elaborate, massive home, because the houses here are so expensive that it's really about location. And so if you had a very modest house in Los Altos, everyone knows that you paid millions for it, you know? And so people are just used to having a smaller scale living situation. Like I said, there's just so many of these little mid-century homes, and people will buy these little houses and make them super chic and cute inside. In fact, I can show you an example. Would you like to
Yeah,
see?
I would love to see some. This is perfect segue.
Okay, cool.
Because I
Let me
know
show
we've talked,
you.
you know, like here in like Medford, Cambridge, where I am, you know, you'll like my house is about 1,700 square feet. I have a 7,500 square foot lot. Obviously, the lot sizes get a little bit smaller when you go towards Boston, and you get a little bit bigger when you go out to the suburbs, right? But
Mhm.
I mean, unless you're really in like a town that has acreage, which is not really close to the city, I mean, you're easily 30, 40 minutes outside of the city, you're not going to have anything greater than 2,500 square feet. So I think size wise, we're probably very comparable
I
of
think we
in terms
are.
of space.
I think we are. So here's an example of a house that was 90 something years old that I sold at the beginning of this year.
Love it.
Super cute. Walk to downtown Willow Glen, which is a neighborhood within San Jose that's really known for being charming and having these little custom houses. So this is pre-World War II. So 92 years old or something like that. 1,451 square feet, but they've made it so adorable inside. Let me
It
show
looks
you some of
great.
these pictures.
It's such a storybook little house. I love it.
Totally, and some of the old elements with the arches and the plaster walls and everything.
And that's
Um,
so we have that here. Like it's not that different than, you know,
right.
here in New England, all of our homes are 100 plus years old, or they're like that 50s, 60s build, like post World War II. So
Yeah.
this is such a similar thing that see here in Greater
Yes.
Boston.
Yes. And they've changed it over time. I'm gonna speed up because I have to show you the wine cellar.
Okay. Oh, I know that's such a treat in California, the
This
wine.
was
Oh, that's amazing.
basically a rough basement that they finished and put copper ceiling on the ceiling, and then had 1,000 bottle wine cellar built in. And guess where these guys moved when they sold?
Where?
Napa, of course.
Do they need more wine? I'm not sure. That's amazing. It's so California of you, Kirsten.
I
Kirsten.
know, I know.
Show me. I'd love to. I know you showed before we jumped on and started recording the condo you had.
Oh, yeah. Let me show you that one as well. So this, let me go back here. Not that. So this is a condo. So you had asked me previously as we were preparing for the call, if I could maybe pull up a couple properties that were at that midpoint that you guys
Mhm.
have in your area, which is
Yep.
averages out to maybe like 700, 750.
Yeah, give or
And
take. Yeah.
so there's not that much in terms of single family homes. In fact, let me show you that one first. So here's a single family home that sold earlier this year for $720,000. And it's really rough. It needed a lot of work. I don't know if you can see very
Yeah,
well.
you can see it a little bit. I mean, it's basically a contractor special,
The
or just
contractor
have to come in and
special.
customize the whole thing.
Yeah, and it had a bunch of unpermitted stuff done to it, and there also had been, a death on the property. I mean, it really had a lot of strikes going against the poor thing. So that one sold for 720, but then around the same price point, 725, this sale of this pretty condo in Sunnyvale. And Sunnyvale is a very popular neighborhood to be in because it's got great schools. It's close to all of the tech. It's like really the epicenter, Sunnyvale is. And it's right next to Mountain View, which has great dining and shopping and everything. So this place, you can see it's small, but they made it really darling with
I
this
love it.
renovation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. So, selling your home here in Greater Boston and being able to acquire something out there is 100% attainable.
It is.
If, there is inventory out there for you to look at. And I think that's, a lot of people have that fear of, oh my God, I'm not going to get anything close to either what I have,
Mhm.
or I'm going to end up in, a shack, right? And that's not the case. I mean, there will be things there for you to buy.
Yeah, yeah. And there's so much to do out here. And the weather is so good. A lot of people will almost expand their house size by creating really livable outdoor space. I mean, that's what my husband Seth and I did. We were thinking, okay, we're kind of growing out of this house, but what can we do to make it more livable for us? And we ended up building a courtyard in the front yard, building wraparound decking in our backyard. So we really expanded the space of our home by expanding our outdoor space, because we get almost year round nice weather here.
Yeah, that's so
There's
nice.
a few weeks that are super hot and there's a few weeks that are chilly, but other than that, it's really lovely.
I love it. And, I know I always bring this up when I do these interviews because, here, kind of where I am and closer to the city, we have that option of public transportation. So
Mm.
I think where you are is probably a little bit more car dependent, but the closer you get to San Jose City Center, there's public transportation there.
There is, but I will tell you that public transportation, I feel, is definitely it's one of our shortcomings, and they're working on it actively. They have a lot of city planning in place in San Jose and in the neighboring towns to increase public transportation, to increase high-speed rails, to build more transit centers. Right now, a lot of the tech companies will have buses that they will have, they'll stop at bus stops and the employees can park their car, get on the bus, and then, be taken to work. And that really is nice. I know Apple, Google, all the big ones have buses.
That's
Um,
amazing. Get those
so
cars
that's
off the road.
helpful.
Yeah, for sure. I know we talked a little bit about, something unique about your market, and you do have a good nugget to share, which
I
is,
do.
I think, the only thing in the country that, your
I don't
uniqueness
know. I
for.
mean, I haven't found another place that does it exactly the way that we do. And this will maybe resonate with some of your viewers out there that have recently purchased a property out of California or in your area. But when you buy a property, you get into escrow, and the first thing that you normally do is order inspections and go through your contingency periods. And then if you find problems, negotiate repairs and then move forward, right?
Yep.
In Northern California, for whatever reason, and it's been this way since I started practicing real estate like 17 years ago. And so I don't know exactly when it got started, but sellers always provide all of the reports.
That's
Sellers get
amazing.
their own inspections. So when you're a buyer and you go to look at properties and you find one that you like, the first thing that you do with your agent is download all the disclosures and reports so that you can see everything about the house. So you'll see not only the seller disclosures, but a home inspection, pest inspection, roof inspection. Sometimes, I mean, if there's a pool, there'll be a pool inspection. And I think maybe this all started because we've just always had such constricted inventory, and there's always been a competitive situation to buy houses
Mm,
in this area, that the only way they could really make airtight contracts and allow these buyers to be aggressive in their offers is to provide them all the information about the house up front so that they can make non-contingent offers. That's the
interesting.
only that's the only thing I can think of. And it really does help, because then the buyer goes in with open eyes. They know exactly what they're buying and they can write their offer based on that. Um, and I think from the seller's perspective, you might think, well, why would a seller ever shell out the money? Isn't that the buyer's job? But I have found that it puts my sellers in a lot more control of escrow, because once a buyer ties you up into escrow and then they start hammering on your house and looking under the hood, you're
Right.
not in a very good position leverage wise in terms of negotiation. So it kind of weakens your position. So to have it all up front really makes you stronger in terms of negotiating. So that's my
I love
nugget
it.
of the day.
No, I love it. But I'm going to ask you one more question because I want to
Mhm.
end on something fun.
Yes.
So, the Riley family, it's Saturday. You and Seth don't have to work. You have two boys and you're the cutest dog on the planet. What are you doing for fun in your area Are you beaching? Are you hiking? Talk to me about the fun stuff in your area that you would do.
So we love to go to the beach, and we have a few private spots that we find that aren't like points on the map, so they don't get as overrun with beach goers. And so we love to go to the beach. We love to go look at the tide pools and find hermit crabs, and that's really really fun. Or my husband and my two sons are really into RC cars, and we have these like Jeep style RC cars that are like this big that crawl over rocks. And so we'll go find some like cool trail, and the guys will do that, and I'll probably be on my phone doing a deal. If truth be told.
I love it. I love it. Well, Kirsten, thank you so much for your time today. This is, as always, I mean, anytime we talk, it's always fun.
Yeah.
And to anybody watching, if you're thinking about relocating to Silicon Valley, Kirsten is my referral partner there. We'll make sure we have all of your information tied to our social, of course. So anytime anybody has to get in touch with you or just even has questions about the area,
Yeah,
like you said.
absolutely. My door's always open. Call me, email me with questions. I'd be happy to consult with any of your friends, Jen.
Awesome.
Anytime.
And I'm coming to visit soon. It's been way too long.
I heard
So
it. I'm writing it down.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you so much again. And for everybody who's watching, until next time, I hope you love the way you live.
All right.